Part 1. The Guitar Connection. My life was a harmonious melody with every note under my control. That was until the day I met him, Fikayode, the guy who would strike a chord in my heart. We collided in a public transport bus where he sat at the back, his head bowed. When he raised his eyes, our gazes met, and the connection was instantaneous. He was captivated by the guitar in my hands and asked if I was an instrumentalist. I smiled, and our eyes locked in a sparkling moment. I downplayed my skills, but he was persistent, asking for my number to connect him with a better instrumentalist. I knew his true intentions were to serenade me with sweet nothings. As he got off the bus, he bid me farewell with a chuckle, and I responded with a smile. My phone buzzed with his call, confirming my WhatsApp number. He wanted to switch to messaging, and I agreed, reminding him of my preference for chatting over calling. We started our nocturnal conversation, and he asked about my passion for guitar. I shared my inspirations, role models, and the thrill I get from watching someone play guitar. The goosebumps I feel when a lady plays the guitar is indescribable. It's as if the music resonates deep within my soul. As our conversation flowed, I couldn't help but ask why he bowed down his head inside the bus earlier. He brushed it off, saying he had been somewhere that left him feeling let down, but I sensed there was more to it. We shifted gears, discussing life in general, and I found myself wondering if he was around my age or perhaps a fellow student. He asked about my studies, and I shared my plans to pursue a higher national diploma after my industrial training program of 1 year. I assumed he might be in a similar phase, given his youthful appearance, but he surprised me with a chuckle. "I'm not in school," he said. "I've already completed my BSc and finished my National Youth Service 2 years ago." I was taken aback, shocked by his revelation. I apologized for addressing him informally, quickly adding brother to his name as a sign of respect. We laughed and talked on WhatsApp call, and I found myself lost in our conversation, forgetting about my distant boyfriend. Fikayode filled the gap in my life with his humor and engaging chats. As the days passed, our connection grew stronger. We both yearned to meet again, and he suggested I drop the formalities and call him by his name. I agreed, pretending it was hard for me to adjust, but deep down I was comfortable with the idea. Our bond grew more intimate, and I found myself drawn to him in ways I couldn't ignore. As our connection deepened, I found myself effortlessly calling him by his name, Fikayode. Our lively conversations became the highlight of my day, and I couldn't deny the feelings blossoming inside me. He subtly hinted at taking our friendship to the next level, but I hesitated, mindful of my commitment to my boyfriend. Despite our distant relationship, whenever I mentioned my boyfriend, Fikayode would skillfully change the subject, and I sensed a hint of discomfort. Yet, our friendship continued to flourish, and he invited me to visit him or meet at my mom's shop. I declined, fearing my parents' disapproval and the societal expectations that came with being a young woman. Visaya tried to reassure me, emphasizing my maturity and independence, but the fear of judgment lingered. I politely declined again, unsure if I was ready to cross that boundary. The next day, he suggested a casual meetup at his place before my guitar training class, and I agreed, setting a 30-minute limit to avoid being late. As I looked forward to seeing him again, I couldn't help but wonder what the future held for us. Would our friendship evolve into something more, or would we maintain the status quo? Only time would tell. Part 2. The Visit. As the day of our planned meeting approached, I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nerves. We had argued and disagreed, but I had finally agreed to visit Fikayode at his place before my guitar training. Deep down, I was thrilled to see him again, and I could sense his eagerness too. As I prepared to leave my mom's shop, I felt butterflies in my stomach. I hastily finished my task, eager to depart for my guitar training, a cover for my secret meeting with Fikayode. My mom unsuspectingly bid me farewell and I set off, my heart racing with anticipation. Fikayode and I exchanged updates, discussing the time, food, and my impending arrival. He reassured me that he wouldn't go against my terms and conditions, and I detected a hint of excitement in his messages. As I pondered what I was getting myself into, doubt crept in. What if my boyfriend called me while I was at Fikayode's place? How would I explain it? My mind raced with questions, but my desire to see Fikayode again took over. I pushed aside my reservations and decided to indulge my selfishness, allowing myself to revel in the thrill of the moment. With a sense of determination, I boarded a bus and headed to Fikayode's house. As I arrived at the junction, he directed me to take a bike, and we finally met outside his place. Our eyes locked and I felt an undeniable spark. I tried to brush it off, reminding myself that this was just a friendly visit. But the tension between us was palpable. As we stepped into the house compound, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and nervousness. Fikayode's parents were away, and he had invited me over, making me wonder what the day had in store. At the gate, I hesitated for a moment, intimidated by the dogs in the compound, but Fikayode reassured me. They are harmless, just follow me. I took a deep breath and trailed behind him, my heart racing with anticipation. Once inside, Fikayode offered me a seat in the living room and gestured for a friendly hug. My heart skipped a beat as I pondered his intentions. Was he seeking more than just friendship? I shyly evaded his embrace and launched into a narrative about my journey to his place, trying to deflate any awkwardness. Fikayode noticed my evasion and tactfully changed the subject, offering me a drink. As we sipped our beverages, he turned on the TV and we found ourselves engrossed in a musical channel. The conversation flowed effortlessly, but when it seemed like we were running out of topics, Fikayode pulled out his family photo album. As we flipped through the pages, I couldn't help but tease him about his serious expression in the old pictures. What's with the frown face? I asked, trying to lighten the mood. Fikayode chuckled and shared stories about his childhood stubbornness. And we both laughed, the tension dissipating. Then he suggested we take a picture together. Just in case you don't come visit me again, he said. My heart fluttered at the thought, but I agreed. And we snapped a photo sitting comfortably apart, yet close enough to spark a connection. As our lively conversation reached its peak, I glanced at the time and gasped, realizing I had overstayed my intended 30-minute visit by nearly half an hour. Fikaude seemed reluctant to bid me farewell, hoped that if I lingered a bit longer, our unspoken feelings might surface. But I knew that prolonging my stay could lead to unexpected developments, and I wasn't ready for that, especially considering this was my first time visiting a guy alone. Determined to depart, I announced my leave and Fikaude escorted me to the gate, insisting on a friendly hug. I agreed, offering a side hug to maintain a safe distance. As we stepped out, the dogs began barking and approached me, sending shivers down my spine. In a moment of fear, I instinctively drew closer to Fikaode, my body touching his, and I hid behind him. That was when I felt an electric spark, as if our bodies were longing for more than just a friendly connection. Fikaode tried to reassure me. The dogs like you. They want to play and get used to you. But I was too afraid to indulge, asking him to please lead me out. Fikayode, sensing my unease, kindly offered to accompany me outside, his thoughtful gesture alleviating my discomfort. As we walked to the bus stop together, the air was filled with unspoken tension. I couldn't help but wonder if this chance encounter might lead to something more. When we reached the bus stop, he made sure I safely get on a bus going to my next destination, leaving a lasting impression on me.